Hey, good morning, everybody. I like saying good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to the TED Show, our first of our two Thursday editions. My guest is the beautiful and talented Julie Little. Here she is.
Hey.
So we had such a great pre-talk. So let us know that you can hear us. That's always the most important thing. Make sure we're not scratchy. Julie's a photographer by trade, so she's already orangutan picked stuff off me, which I love. Because I'm sure having a dog at home, you never know what's going to be on my fur. But let us know that you can hear us and see us. And if we're scratchy, let me know. Oh, Tony Tate says, I love Julie.
Aw, hi,
He's
Tony.
awesome. Hey, Tony. So good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming on the show. We've had a great conversation prior. And Julie has such a great topic, which I won't read aloud again, but it basically has to do with fulfillment, creating your own life, creating a creative and passionate life, and not chasing the carrot, which we all do. Oh, June Townsend says, hi, Julie.
Hi, June.
I have this here sometimes because I can't read that far.
I'll read the far one. You read the close.
Okay. Oh, good. Good morning, Terry. So you have a great story. So give them a little bit of background because they don't know you, or some of them do, obviously. And Mom and Dad, if you're watching, here's the wave. Hi, guys. And Bob Lee says, hi, Julie.
Oh, hi. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on
I'm
your
so
show.
honored. I appreciate it.
I'm honored. I'm so excited. This is a really great opportunity. So thank you, everybody who's tuned in. So my name is Julie Little, and I'm a portrait photographer by trade. That's what I do for a living. That's how I make money. And I'm also the mother of 3 amazing kids. Like, I get choked up.
Oh, you should.
And I'm super proud of them. I'm the youngest of 4 girls.
I know. God bless your dad.
I'm a Buckeye. I was raised in Ohio, so from all you Midwesterners, give us a thumbs up.
Now, is Buckeye the same as, like, the Ohio State?
Yeah, Ohio State Buckeyes.
Okay.
There's only one Buckeye.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I like the the pastry you eat, that you guys make.
Oh, the
Yeah,
Buckeye.
peanut butter and chocolate.
Oh, yeah.
My God, yeah. That's where my brain goes.
Moved to Florida in the early 80s, I think.
You were 1 or 2.
Yeah. And have been in Central Florida since I was about 15. And
Where'd you go to high school?
Osceola High School, Cowboys with a K.
I got it. I won't start with that, but that's pretty funny. I was a Colonial Grenadier.
Yeah, and I was a cheerleader, so I'm super proud.
Nice.
Once a cowboy, always a cowboy. So
that's
yeah.
awesome. So you have a great history with your parents. You were talking about them earlier, and I think that is such a fantastic story. I mean, I want to get to everything that we want to talk about, but your dad has a great story, and of course we want to give a shout out to him because he's been waving at us, and he's such a good guy. Tony Tate says, sorry, I'm a Clemson Tiger.
Oh, sorry, Tony.
Oh, Tony. Terrible.
It's okay.
It's okay. So tell us about your parents, because your dad made this big decision, which obviously impacted all of you and changed your trajectory.
Yeah. So, like I told you, I'm from Ohio, and my dad was in the construction industry, and in the crash of the economy back in the 80s, moved our family to Florida, which I'm so grateful for. I love my family in Ohio, but I'm super happy that I get to live in Florida, in the Sunshine State.
In the sunshine.
At 50 years old, my dad decided to change careers, and he was an artist at heart, but he was in the construction business supporting his family. He had 4 little girls that he had to support, and he knew he wanted to do something different with his life that really was fulfilling, and so he became a photographer. And he went and bought all the books. He didn't have any special education. He just went and bought all of the books and built a dark room in his backyard and started.
There was no YouTube.
No,
back
yeah,
then, you had to buy a book.
We didn't even have internet, really.
I'm not sure if some of the people on here know what a book is.
Yeah, and he pursued his dream at 50 years old. Completely changed careers, and became a photographer. And him and my mom, she was a makeup artist at the time, and they started our company, Little Creations, back in 1995.
Wow. And isn't that amazing that he took that? So because he was willing to take the risk, and one of the things you said which stuck with me is that you all supported him, your mom and all of you were on board and his biggest cheerleaders.
Yeah.
Because you can make that move, but if you don't have a support system or a little bit of a village behind you, it's very difficult. But you all were there for him.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it felt like that at that time. I think a lot of us were probably like, what the heck are you, Dad? Are you serious? But because of the type of person that he is and the type of person that he raised us to be, you know, it's about going after what you want and really having, you know, what you want for yourself in your life. And
so that trajectory changed yours.
Oh, absolutely,
right?
Yeah.
Because you don't know what would have happened, because you now run the studio.
Yeah, I have something kind of like what we had then. I was going to school. I was a single mom. I had a son when I was 22 years old, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. I was going to school, and I'm like, oh, I'll just get a good education, and I'll get a job, and I'll be successful. And
American dream.
Yeah, yeah. And I went over to their house one night and to have dinner with my parents, and my dad was like, hey, I want to bring you out to the dark room and show you what I've been working on. And we went in there, and we were in there for like 6 hours. So we were like processing film and creating contact sheets and going through the pictures. And when we started going through the pictures and looking at them, we both realized that we had the same eye.
Very
and
cool.
So what he liked is what I liked. And it was like really cool for me, because for the first time in my life, I felt really connected to him.
Oh, that's
and,
sweet. That's very
it was
sweet.
really cool. So yeah, and then we started the business, really growing the business. At that point, every member of my family came to work for the company,
Wow.
which was called Little Creations at the time.
Isn't that wonderful, though, like with your dad? Because I think a lot of people, I didn't have really any relationship with my parents, but I think a lot of people, when they realize that your parents are people too, and you try to figure out a way to connect with them, when it happens, it's magic, which is what it was.
Yeah, I mean, for us, our family, it was like everything that we had ever done had prepared us for that time. Yeah. And then each one of us had a special skill set that we brought to the company. And our company grew so fast, so quickly, because we were all so connected and so passionate about what we were doing.
I love that.
And, you know, we made a huge impact.
Bob says Julie can make anyone look great. And all those hearts there, I'm guessing that's your mom or a sister.
I don't know.
Jackie Little.
Oh, yes.
Is that mom?
Jackie Little's my sister.
Oh, sister.
Yeah.
Hi, Jackie.
Yes, hi. Thank you,
hearts.
guys.
So
thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, because I think it's so important that people understand where the passion comes from. Because one of the things you put in your bio was you learned, or you realized you needed to stop chasing the carrot, and you had to create new relationships, which you can talk about, and new ways of interacting with people, and then a different life, so that you weren't exhausted all the time. And there's a difference between being exhausted because you're chasing the carrot and you hate what you're doing, and being exhausted and loving what you're doing, and there's just not enough time in the day. So the balance is there. But tell them a little bit about that.
So what was really cool is that I absolutely love what I do, and I've always loved what I do. My dad and I had a conversation years ago that was so powerful. He said to me, you know, Julie, you already won the lottery. You're just having a little hard time collecting the money.
I love that. Isn't that true? We all have, right?
Because so many people don't love what they do.
Correct.
And I already loved what I did. It was just figuring out a way to make it profitable.
And you knew that. That's also something, like, I think people have this inkling of what they want to do, but they're so afraid of it because it doesn't fit into the norm, or maybe it's not the moneymaker, that the job that they're in that they hate. They're afraid to take that risk, but you knew. That is a blessing. Yeah,
well, I was grateful that I had somebody who was, 30 years my senior that could tell me, because I didn't know that. He didn't discover until he was 50 years old what he really wanted to do with his life, and I had it at 22.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So what's really cool is that, but what happened was our business grew so fast, and there was such a huge demand. This was before the digital age, and we had a sales team, and we traveled all over the country, but I was working, and I was gone. And even though I was loving what I was doing, and I was spending all this time with all these other families, I wasn't with my own.
Right.
And I had 3 little kids. And so I was fortunate enough that my sister, Jackie, who we were talking about, she shared something with me, a course that she did called the Landmark Forum, which I shared with you a little bit earlier.
Yes.
amazing transformational weekend. I went into the Landmark Forum, and it completely shifted the trajectory of my life.
How did it do that?
Not the course. What the course does is it has questions that you ask yourself, right? It's not like they have information that you need. It's that they have the questions to ask you, to really have you examine your life.
So important. I agree. And
Yeah.
we don't do that. We
No.
we think we do, but really, if you're at a weekend and you're paying probably to be there,
Yeah.
it's a great way to go. All right, here I have to face myself, and a
Right.
lot of people don't. They don't like
Yeah.
what's in the mirror.
Well, the cool thing about, I mean, there's so much I could share. I mean, I could do a whole day about
We'd have to do a
about the
whole day.
Landmark
I
Forum and
love
the
that.
difference it can make. But for me, the difference it made is that two things. One is that I realized that my past was in my future, that I wasn't complete with my past, so I was constantly putting it out in the future and living it
Wow.
over and over again.
That's powerful. Super powerful.
Yeah. So I got the past out of the way and put back in the past.
Because that's unfinished business. You weren't dealing with whatever your past was.
Well,
Is that what you're?
Well, yeah. Well, no. Actually, it's the way that works is that your past is out there in your future. Like you raise your hand when you're in kindergarten and,
Right.
and you answer the question wrong and everyone laughs, and then you go, I'm never going to do that again.
Right. It's like a learned behavior.
And you're not actually living your life freely. You're living your life based on the past, and you're
Love it.
in reaction to the past instead of creating something new.
That's so good.
So
That's
that
good.
was like the key thing that I was like, oh,
That's your
I
aha
chose
moment.
my husband because I didn't want to marry my dad. So I married the opposite, like I was like, what?
That's deep.
Yes.
That's deep.
Yeah.
So you get there. So you said you learned two things.
So, and the other thing that's the most valuable that I, share with people all the time is, which I shared with you earlier, is that we have it backwards. Like if we work really hard and we do everything that we're supposed to do, that we'll have the nice house and we'll drive the nice car and our kids will go to all the right schools, and then the result is being happy.
Correct.
It doesn't work like that.
It really doesn't. And I think people are stuck in the when this happens. It's always the when this happens, and they don't live in the, well, like Bob Lee
Right.
just said, that you don't live in the present, you don't live in the moment.
Yeah.
And if you're so focused on, okay, so if I get a nice car, we're going to be great. Or if I get a bigger house.
Right.
And that really doesn't give anybody any joy if you're honest with yourself. It may bring you temporary stuff when you can
Yeah.
host a party or you can have a family gathering, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're happy with that house, because with that comes additional responsibility.
Well, yeah, now you have to go work
Yes.
to pay for it, and
Right.
then you don't get to enjoy it because you're working.
That happens a lot, I
Yeah.
think, with people.
And so for me, what I got present to is that I had been doing that for 10 years.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, when I'm 35, when I'm this, when I'm that, whatever, when I have this house and my kids are in that school and I live in this neighborhood, then I'll be happy.
Right.
And it never came. I was living like life was coming for me someday.
I love this. To say that again.
Yeah, I was living like life was coming for me. Like if I do all of this right now, then someday I'll be happy.
Correct.
Someday I'll be fulfilled. Someday my marriage will be amazing. We just have to work really hard right now.
Right.
But what happens is you get so caught up in the doing that you become a human doing
Yes.
instead of a human being.
Love
And
it.
so what I got out of the Landmark Forum is that I'm a human being. And I can be happy and grateful and loving and understanding and patient and kind. And I don't need anything or anyone to bring that to me.
Correct.
That I can create that right from here.
Correct.
And
That's awesome.
that whole thing shifted me like, oh.
So
I
when
mean,
you
it
made
really
the shift,
was
so when
like,
it impacts
oh, yeah.
you like that, because I think people
Yeah.
do have aha moments like that. They have big shifts. They
Yeah.
have things that come into their life, and it does change them. But so what's the next thing that you do? Do you immediately act on it? Because a lot of people have the aha moment and then still wait. They know
Yeah.
they need to do it, so they're a little more clear, but they
Yeah.
don't take action.
Yeah. So what was really cool about that is after I did the forum, the Landmark Forum, when I came home, my kids were kind of like, well, you're different. And I think just being with it for a while and just getting the impact that way of being has had on your life.
Right.
and asking other people in your life what the impact has been on them. And I remember coming home from the forum and talking to my former husband, he was my husband at the time, and asking him, like, what's it been like for you that I've been, being all of these things,
That is a raw question.
I was like, I was tough, man. I mean, I was tough. And
you seem like such a pussycat, teddy bear. Come on.
No, I mean, I am now being that.
Right.
But I had it like I was the one, right? I was responsible. I had to be the one to pay the bills. I had to be the one to generate the money. I had to be the one to go talk to the teachers at school. I had to be the one. I was the one. Right? And for him, it just left nothing. It left nowhere for him to be what he wanted to be.
That's fascinating. How awesome that you were able to have that conversation with him. So when he responds, and the kids, I'd love to hear what the kids' responses were too. Because that's such an honest conversation to have with anybody, any relationship that you're in, to really ask them for their input, knowing that you're probably not going to like the answer, but how powerful to give them, because that may be the only time they've ever voiced it to you. That may be the only time they've felt comfortable saying it out loud. And I imagine that's powerful in and of itself.
Well, and I think the most important thing is when you ask a question like that you really have to be a safe space for the person to answer it authentically.
Agreed.
And that's what I wasn't. I was always the person asking questions. Well, why do you do that? How come? Trying to understand. But I really wasn't asking the question to listen from how it was for them. It was like how I could make that wrong, what they were saying.
Yes, because you have an immediate defense mechanism, because you don't want to face the fact that you too have things that are idiosyncrasies or ways that you're treating people that aren't perfect. We all do. And it's very hard to allow somebody, give them the freedom in a safe place, a safe environment, to be able to express that. And I think that's very, very powerful. That must have been hard, though.
Yeah, and what I was just thinking of when you were saying that is that I used to have this line that I was like, man, this is such a good line. And I used to use it all the time in fights where it was like, and I used to say this, you can't argue with the way you make me feel.
Ooh, that's good.
No, it's so
I know,
dumb.
it's terrible.
It's dumb. It's totally righteous.
It's horrible. It is righteous.
It's so righteous.
I
and that's
agree.
really how I lived my life, was that my way is the way.
Right.
And how can I figure out how to make you fit into my way?
And don't you think a lot of us, like, I think nobody's perfect, so I think people do this. I am sure, my wife would say, oh my God, Julie, I need you to have a conversation with him.
Come over.
I mean, because I'm the same, I understand that thought process, because you can't believe people don't understand the pressure on you, so you're only thinking about what you're going, because you have responsibilities, kids, a wife, a house, and you don't want to admit, maybe I'm doing things that they don't need me to do or want me to do. I'm doing them thinking that's what I should be doing, like you said earlier, but that isn't what's important to them, because I've never asked what's important to them. So how powerful that was.
Yeah, and when I had that conversation with my former, and we have conversations like this still, because you have to reconnect yourself all the time. When I asked him what that had been like for him, he sat there really quiet, because I married a man who I could dominate, and then I made him wrong because he didn't stand up to me.
Wow.
And so I was constantly trying to get him to fight with me. And he wouldn't. And I made that mean that he didn't love me, because he wouldn't give me information, right? But he was scared to death of me.
Well, he probably had no tools to understand how to communicate with you in a way that wouldn't make it worse.
Right. Yeah. When I was in my Landmark Forum, I was standing in front of this room, because the way the Landmark Forum works is there's 150 people in the room, and there's 2 microphones. And I was really stuck. When I went into the Landmark Forum, I was like, I'm either going to get out of this marriage or I'm going to shut about it, because
there it is.
I was so tired of hearing myself complaining about it.
Right.
Every time I would open my mouth and something would start to come out, I'd be like, so sick of it.
Correct.
Right?
Sure.
So my Landmark Forum leader said to me, your husband had no chance ever with you. This is exactly how it was going to go.
Wow.
That doesn't matter what he says or does. You're going to be like that no matter what.
Wow. What do you do with that?
Yeah, so I shared it with him. I called him and I told him, I said, hey, just so you know, you never had a chance.
And what did he say? Hopefully he laughed maybe at that point.
It actually gave him a lot of relief because I had made him so wrong for so long that he was believing it. And so, what he shared with me was that he felt like he could never do anything right.
Yeah.
And that I didn't need him.
Wow. And so how do you...
And that he was just a babysitter.
That is a very difficult place for anyone to be in.
Especially a man.
Yeah, I hate to sound sexist, but that's definitely the way things are. And it's not a sexist statement. It's any relationship, but guys especially.
Yeah.
It's a very difficult place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would say only a second.
Yeah, it's okay.
That probably was such a powerful thing for him to be able to say it and for him to hear you say that, because that's what he's thinking all along. I have no chance here. There's absolutely no way that I am ever going to get my point across, and she's always going to be right. And then so you just retreat.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I have to give you props
Yes.
because this is such an important conversation and such a difficult one, I would think. I guess it's been years.
Yeah.
But to be able to admit that, to be able to talk about it like you're talking about it now is so powerful, because people need to do that self-evaluation. Yeah. They have to look at themselves and go, why isn't this working? Or what isn't working in it? And that you did that to a raw level.
Well,
so thank you for sharing.
Well, that's what it's called to be complete.
Interesting.
So when people can't share about something, it's because they're not complete with it. Like, I know that I made mistakes, and I know why I made those mistakes. So I know that my relationship went the way it went because of the life that I had. It wasn't going to go any other way. It was going to go exactly that way.
Right.
And now I know that I get to say now. I have a say. I get to choose how it's going to go every day. Right. And I don't have to be in that vicious circle anymore of chasing the carrot and making other people wrong. Like, my life has a direct correlation to the decisions I make.
Correct.
If my life is not going the way I want it to, it's because of the decisions I made. I'm not a victim. I'm not at the effect of other people anymore. Like, I was walking around with a chip on my shoulder like, I can't believe that person said that.
I can't even imagine you like this. I'm fascinated by it because it's the complete opposite of the energy that you have now.
Yeah.
Because you're so open. It's called transformation. Now, I would love to know what the kids said.
Well, it's been interesting. My kids are super outspoken, as you can imagine.
I don't know where they got that from.
I've taught them to speak their mind.
Good.
And to be responsible for what they say.
Good.
And, it's like this.
Sure.
Right? There's the super highs and then there's the super lows. I mean, there's moments where, we yell at each other and then we clean it up.
Right. But you clean it up.
And I think that's the most important thing. I mean, cleaning up where you screwed up.
Yes.
And like getting complete with people, apologizing, and getting how it is for them.
Why is I'm sorry so difficult for people? Do you feel
because
especially parents to kids or kids to parents? I mean, I think there are a lot of. I was definitely. My kids aren't watching, so I can say this. I was not the perfect parent, although in my mind I was the perfect parent. But I think that people are afraid to apologize to their kids or to their parents, and I think that's such a powerful thing to be able to do. This whole thing's been powerful, by the way. We have plenty of time. But
good.
People are saying, June Townsend says, I can totally relate. And then somebody said, I always like to acknowledge people.
Yeah.
Michelle Palmer, I love her. Love Julie Little. You have a lot of people on here that love you, which is awesome.
Thank you. I love you guys too. Thank you.
Well, look at this.
I have an amazing life.
Look at the transformation here. So if you can do it.
I get so emotional.
And that's good.
I'm so grateful.
That's it.
I'm so grateful for the life that I have. And the crazy thing is, I always had this life. I just didn't know it.
That's correct.
I had it like it was supposed to look a certain way, And
you should teach people about this. I love it. I could listen to that and think about it. So we talked about it earlier. You go to the forum, the Landmark Forum.
Yes.
A lot of people probably did, but imagine if all of those people who left made the same transformation that you did. Ben Perry, that must be the Ben you're talking about. Hi, Ben.
We were talking about you, Ben. We love you, Ben.
We were talking about you. But that changes your life if you make the decisions to change right then and
Yeah.
there. And if you
Well, yeah,
don't,
it's new actions, right?
it's new actions.
It's
and
like
creating
not
new
doing,
relationships.
Oh,
which you
yeah.
said.
Yeah, I do have a great new relationship.
I love that. You're welcome to share
Yeah.
whatever you'd like.
What I want to share about the actions is that, you know, we're machines. People think we're free. We're only free if we know that we're not. Does that make sense? Like, we, as
Yes.
human beings, we're constantly reacting,
Yes.
you know, and we're machinery. So it's very difficult to change your way of already doing.
Yes.
Okay?
Very difficult.
Yeah, so taking new actions is the biggest thing. Like, I don't know how many people I talk to who call me and they're like, you know, complaining about something. I'm like, okay, what new action are you going to take?
Exactly.
What are
because-
you going to do differently this time?
Because it goes back to your first, they're a victim, right? And then nobody
This happened
wants
to
to
me.
change. If it's not,
Yeah.
if everything you're doing is not working and you're getting the same result and you just keep doing the same thing over and over
Yeah.
again, you're never going to get out of that vicious
No.
cycle, ever.
Nope.
So to take the action.
Take a new action.
Oh, Todd Bryant, whom I love, says, when will I see Julie at Citrus Toastmasters? That's
I'm coming for you.
Way too early.
I'm coming for you, Todd.
Way too early. But I think that people really need to figure out the action. So if you are, and if somebody comes to me and complains, my first question usually is to them, I mean, I appreciate them. They need a place to vent. Thanks, Rick Cable. It's such a great conversation.
I
He's a
love
fraternity,
Rick.
he's a fraternity brother. I'm a Sigma Chi.
Rick is a
Rick's-
client of mine
Oh,
for
I love-
years and
love
years and
Rick,
years. I
love
love
Rick.
him. And an old neighbor.
And an old neighbor. But I think that people, when they come to me and they talk to me, the first thing I ask them always is, okay, so what do you want to do to change it?
Right.
And how are you going to change it?
Yeah.
Because this isn't, whatever you're doing isn't working, so you need to stop that. But it's very hard when you get in a pattern of doing something one way and you get in that victim mentality. It's so much easier just to be passive aggressive and kind of blame everybody else, and it's the world's fault, not mine. I can't possibly be imperfect.
Yeah.
But you are. We both are. And I'm telling you, you are.
We all have our, you know what?
So Ben asks, what was the most challenging thing you've had to face for yourself since joining Landmark, Julie?
Oh, wow, that's a good question. And I want to answer it, but I want to add something to what
Sure.
you just said.
Go right ahead.
So it's the way you're being about it. It starts with, when you ask me, what do you do differently? How are you being? Where are you coming from? What is your context around this situation?
Correct. That's
And then
good.
you work backwards, right?
That's
like
very
if
good.
I'm being loving, how am I going to be in this situation? What new action would I take?
Right, because you're bringing all of your baggage to every argument and every situation. So if you're not familiar with or in touch with why you're doing the things that you're doing, it's very hard to overcome them, I think is another way for that to say
Yeah.
that. Because why are you acting this way? Why are you saying the things the way that you're saying them? Why are you arguing with this person all the
Right.
time? What are you bringing to the table?
Well, what are you really saying? Like, what are you actually protecting?
Correct. And so
It's usually being right.
it's totally being right. You know it's being right. I'm never right. Hi, Chrissy. We're going to say hi to her.
Hi.
All right, so what haven't we
Okay.
covered? Because we're already
Okay,
at
but-
30 minutes.
Oh, really?
But no, it's
oh
okay.
My
I
gosh,
want you to,
my business.
we want
What
to
I
talk
do
about
for a
your
living.
business. And you
And
all
it
have
went-
been such
oh
a
my gosh,
blessing
that went by
today.
fast. Holy
it always
crap.
goes by fast, but you don't
Okay.
have to rush it
Okay.
up. But I definitely want to talk about your business.
Yeah.
So tell them.
Well, I'm a photographer.
I love
And
this card.
Oh, yeah.
You
You
can't
guys have
see
to
it,
see this.
but
Yeah,
it
you
says,
can-
I shoot people for a small fee. It's really cool.
It's actually bigger than a small fee. It's like a medium-sized fee.
It's a medium-sized fee. So you, again, this is your
Yeah.
passion. You made it happen.
So I love people, and I love being with people. And I love creating. What I love most about what I do is when I get to show someone something of themselves that they love. Because a lot of times the people who come to me are not models. They hate having their picture taken. And they come to me because they don't think they're photogenic.
Correct.
And I get to spend time with them, and I get to actually help them discover when they made that up about themselves.
That's awesome, because I'm one of those people. I like a selfie better than a picture because you put it
Because it's
high
your
up
view.
and then I don't have any
Yeah.
chins in it and it looks really good.
Yeah.
Chris Turner says, I can't wait to work with you,
Oh,
Julie.
yay. Thank
Um,
you, Chris. Yeah, so I think that what I do with my family portraits is that I actually create an experience, and I have people have fun. So a lot of people think of, oh my gosh, going and getting their family portrait is like the last thing that they want to do, which I love, because when they come to me, they're like resisting, and they're like, this is going to be, oh my God, I don't want to do this. And then we have a great time.
Well, you're not like, it's not like you're going into I'm not picking on Olin Mills, I don't know if they're around, but you're not going into that uncomfortable thing where the person has no connection with you and really no desire to take your picture at that moment.
Yeah.
You're really engaging them, trying to figure out where they're at, what they're trying to accomplish. I mean, you're doing so much, it's a psychology of photography, really, which adds so much to it. That's why you capture the images the way you do, because you're getting that real from them.
Well, I'm connecting with them.
You're connecting.
And that's what the camera is, just a tool in what I do, right? Because I create an experience and connect with people, and then the camera just captures that.
It captures it not only because you're talented, because you're taking the time to get to know them and really trying to understand them. Because that comes out in every photo. Your photos are beautiful.
Aww,
do we say photos?
You.
I don't even know what we call
you
things
can say,
anymore.
I still call things an whatever
album.
You want.
Nobody even says album.
Images.
Yeah, images.
Your work.
Your work, and your work is beautiful.
Thank
Absolutely
you.
Beautiful.
Well, I love it, and I have the most. That's really what I want to acknowledge, is that I have the most amazing clients. Like, people come to me so vulnerable and share with me and really trust me to create something for them, and that is such a gift. And I get to be a part of something that means so much to them.
Correct. And you've probably given them the first photo that they've liked ever. I'm going to guess that a lot of times people are like, I had no idea I could look like this.
Oh, yeah.
But that, again, goes back to the fact that you invest in the relationship. Brian Dorman had a question.
Okay.
Do you ever go old school? Hey, Belkis. Do you ever go old school? Hey, Jan. Do you ever go old school and do black and white photos?
I don't. And that's how I started my career. When we started Little Creations, which is now called Little's Portraits, that's all we shot was black and white film, because that's all we could process. We didn't know how to process color film, so we shot black and white film, processed it by hand, printed it, and then we would paint the color back in. We did hand-painted photographs.
That's cool.
And so, no, to answer your question, I do not shoot film. I'm a digital photographer now. I was one of the last of lots of professionals. I didn't switch until 2007 because I had my own lab where I processed film and printed and everything. So letting all of that go was really difficult.
Because that's where you discovered you and your dad had that connection. So there's a lot of emotional stuff with that too.
Yeah, and doing something, not the right way, but the way it was created to be done, right?
I love that. Yeah. All right, any parting words for them? And we're going to post all of Julie's information, the hashtags, how to reach her after we save the video. But any parting words for these beautiful people? What an engaged group today, and that speaks volumes to you.
Thank you.
You have a lot of fans out there, a lot of adoring people who adore you, and that is that's a testament to you. So I hope you take that away, because sometimes we don't see that on the show. People do love people, but you have people that really love you enough to come on and support you, and that's awesome.
Thank you.
So any parting words for them?
Yeah, I mean, life is now.
It's the now.
Now, life is now. Like, whatever you're waiting to do, stop waiting. Just do it. Tell the people that you love them. And the people that you're not connected with, reconnect with them. The people who mean something to you. And if you want something for your life, you can have it. Happiness is it's not something that gets sprinkled on some people. It's available for all of us. Happiness and being fulfilled is available to all of us. It has to start here, and it's a creation. So that's really it.
You're a joy. You're an absolute joy to have on the show.
Thank you.
It was so
thank you to you. And I want to acknowledge Ted for
don't make me cry.
Really what you're doing is making a huge impact in the world. And all the stories, letting people share their stories, and having other people connect to people's stories so that people know they're not the only one.
That's it. You don't want to be, nobody's alone. We know that you all are going through things. You're not going through it by yourself. There are other people out there. Oh, I love you guys too. There are other people out there who are going through it. And so the show has taken on a life of its own by allowing a platform to tell people that. I mean, how many people are listening to you today? I know it for a fact, and are moved and go, "Oh my God, that's me," or "That's I'm the husband." I have the relationship with my dad. I mean, there's so many things that people think they're only going through it by themselves, and what a wonderful thing to hear other people like you take a risk, be vulnerable, be authentic, and share your story.
Really authentic. Not like authentic looking good, authentic.
Yeah, not like authentic Italian
Asshole.
from Olive Garden. Not that authentic.
And authentic doesn't mean just saying what's there. You got to be
Correct.
responsible for
Correct.
what you put out in the world.
Lots of great comments. First
Yeah.
time here, awesome, thank you.
Oh,
Hey Jason,
awesome.
self-actualization is such a rare quality. I mean, we're all working toward it, right? And I think that people look at us or other people and they think, oh my God, I'm never going to be that put together. I'm not put together. I mean, I love her, but we're not put together.
not.
We are in progress all the time. But what Julie said, the now is just so critical. And if you could begin to focus on that, that would be an amazing start. So love you. Thank you so much.
Thank
love you guys.
Thank you to my family and my support system.
They're
really
awesome.
Like my partner, John Lowe, he's, man, super fortunate. So thank you. I love him.
It's awesome. So we love you guys. I have a show at 1 o'clock. I'll come back later and talk about that. Al Spry's my guest. But you were a joy, and thank you guys so much, and thank you for coming. All right, so now you get to see me.
Bye.
The remote, I can't. Tim, Ricky, if you're watching.
You should like unbutton your shirt or something to make it like a little sexy dance.
Oh my
Shimmy
God.
up to the camera.
I'm going to try shimmy next time. Wow, that's a great idea. Can you imagine these people would die? John Lowe says, love Julie. So we love you guys. Thank you. See you at 1.